All right, so as you know, the Ratta Media Award is given each year by NEAR in memory of highly respected motorsports writers Charlie Mitchell of the Norwalk Hour and Jack Ratta of the Manchester Union Leader. I wasn't around during their time covering racing and telling the world about most of your stories, but I'm a racing history buff just like everybody else in here, and I've used a lot of their work in my research, and I'm telling you, those guys were damn good at their jobs, and their contributions and dedication are what keeps memories alive for racing's greatest era, in my opinion. Absolutely. And the past recipients of the Ratta Media Award are a who's who of our business. Val Lasour, Sam Weisberg, Charlie Mitchell himself, Lou Modestino, Walter Renner, Chris Economaki, Bill Balser, Howie and Mary Hodge, Dave Moody, Peter Vanderveer, Bonesy, and for some reason last year me. It's a great award, and it's a huge honor. And today it's my honor to present this to two journalists, not one but two, who are very deserving of this award. They're writers that I grew up as a kid respecting, and now I have the pleasure of working with them in the press box at several racetracks. Originally they hail from the same town in the Northeast Kingdom of Vermont, but the paths that led them to document local stock car racing were vastly different. First up, Richard Big Bigelow is a part of a large racing family from St. Johnsbury, Vermont, and they all had a knack of going out on top in racing. His father, Jerry, was retired from driving after winning the final championship at the Northeastern Speedway in 1966. Biggie's brother, Bob, retired from driving in 1987 as the reigning Vermont state champion. Biggie himself won half a dozen races at Riverside Speedway in Groveton, New Hampshire, and in his final season of racing in 1992, he won the first ever race in the late model division at Thunder Road. So a pretty cool statistical anomaly for that family. Biggie's foray in media began with guest appearances on local racing radio programs in 1996, and then he started writing his popular column called Strap In for his hometown daily newspaper, the Caledonian Record, in April of 1998. And it's rare, but this column runs 52 weeks a year. And since his writing debut almost 19 years ago, Biggie estimates that over some 965 plus weeks since his hire date, he's only missed 5 or 6 columns. So that's a pretty cool testament to his longevity. All the while, he has been and continues to be the friendliest, most level-headed, most universally well-liked guy in the pit area. He's a little bit under the weather lately, and he wasn't quite feeling up to making the trip down here, but he has asked me to accept the award on his behalf. He's also asked me to say these words for him. He says, I'm sorry that I couldn't make the trip today. I do want to thank the committee at NEAR for choosing me to win this award. I wouldn't be where I am today without my great friend Reed Garfield, who I met at the Caledonian Record 19 years ago this April. This is a fabulous honor for me, and one that I never dreamed I'd be in line for. Being born into a racing family with my dad, Jerry, well, racing has always been a big part of my life, and I just love all the friends I've met at the racetrack. Enjoy the rest of your day and travel safely. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone at a racetrack in the spring. So I will accept this award for Biggie, and congratulations to him. The other writer that we're honoring today is a friend of mine named Phil Whipple. He was introduced to the sport at the age of 18, sitting in the grandstands with his dad at the 1979 Oxford 250, and from that day he says he was totally hooked, and who wouldn't be? He followed the sport locally for the next dozen years as a fan, and then he started penning the Vermont Vibrations column for Val Lasour's Speedway Scene in 1992. Phil spent several years as a PR consultant for a number of teams competing in the NASCAR Busch North Series in the early 1990s before getting back into journalism. And he relocated to Maine in 1995, and his work began to appear in Trackside Magazine, New England Racing, and Busch North Scene. In 2000, he joined the staff of the daily newspaper, the Lewiston Sun-Journal, and he continues to cover motorsports extensively in and around the Pine Tree State, most notably, of course, the Oxford 250, a race at which this past August he led a large team from the Sun-Journal that provided endless coverage of the event on both its print and digital platforms. He gets it, and he ties all the generations of fans together all at once. Phil is well known here at NEAR. He's a historian of the sport. He's a cheerleader for the modern day of racing, and it's my privilege to welcome and congratulate this man to the stage, the second co-winner of this year's Ratta Media Award, Mr. Phil Whipple.
Thank you, kind sir.
All you, man.
Thank you, kind sir. As a matter of fact, I'd love to say a word since the microphone and me are very good friends. Good afternoon, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here. I was, like so many other members of the media, introduced to the inside the fences side through old Val LeSueur, the old Super Val, the Speedway scene. No compensation, just getting credentials, but it got me in the sport, and it made me realize that it's you folks, it's the people, it's the personalities in this sport that draws you in. And boy, did I ever get hooked for a good many years on it. Just been fortunate enough to write for a lot of wonderful publications. The Busch North Series teams that I worked with were high-class outfits. The late Alan Avery's team, Fadden Racing, Bobby Dragon, and of course when I first relocated to Maine to work with the O'Connor brothers, O'Connor Racing was pretty high level too. So I've been very blessed ever since I got involved in this sport. Doors continuously swung open for me. Whether it was announcing at White Mountain Motorsports Park on the mic, whether it was writing PR releases for teams that had significant sponsorship that needed it, or whether it was documenting a race, I've just been very lucky to have great opportunities. And so here I am today, now 16 years under my belt with the Sun Journal, one of the daily newspapers in northern New England that has tremendous regard and respect. I want to tell you all, I promised our executive editor that I would say this, and I'm going to say it to you all today. It is a great honor for me to write for the Sun Journal out of Lewiston, Maine. I'm lucky to have the following I have in northern New England covering this great sport. I'm just a privileged and lucky man. They think a lot of my writing skills, so they said, don't plan on going anywhere, Phil, we're going to keep you around. So I'm very, very blessed. I want to thank all the folks on the selection committee here at NEAR for making this happen for me. I've just done this for over 2 decades now because of a deep love for the sport and you folks that make it all go round. The race teams, the crew members, the families. And I'll plan to do it for many, many years in the future. So thank you all folks for making this happen for me. I'm going to continue and love this sport and document it to the best of my ability in the years to come. Again, thank you all.